Good morning and welcome back to another session on Indian writing in English. We continue with Nagamandala. We stopped with Rani disclosing her pregnancy to Naga, and we also understood that Naga is not very happy to hear of the news. But what is the reason as to why Naga tells her to keep it a secret? Now Naga knew very well that if Aparna is to hear of it, to come to hear of it, he will not be happy or he will not be pleased. Now the reason, again, as we discussed in the last video, the reason is there are two reasons. Again, Karnad brings in two reasons, and one is the double aspect of man, where husband is a stranger during the day and a lover during the night, and his own suspicion of his wife is one way of looking at this problem. Another one is again the extramarital relationship that is happening in the present Indian society, where everything is seems to be normal, but the woman, when she feels that her husband is moving away from her, she resorts to taking taking comfort in another man's arms. So these are two aspects or two things that we have to bear in mind in this. So let's continue with the rest of it. I shall just read out. We are going to read the whole play and complete the whole act today itself, in this video itself. Rani, so Aparna becomes, in just a flash, Naga becomes Aparna, and he pushes her to the floor and he kicks her. Aparna, aren't you ashamed to admit it, you harlot? I locked you in and yet you managed to find a lover. Tell me who it is. Who did you go to with your sari off? Rani, I swear to you I haven't done anything wrong. Aparna, you haven't, and yet you have a bloated tummy. Just pumped air into it, did you? And you think I'll let you get away with that? You shame me in front of the whole village. You darken my face, you slut. So this shows the double standard of Aparna. He has an illicit relationship, but it is okay for him. But when it comes to Rani having an illicit relationship, that is not okay. That brings him or darkens his face. He is ashamed of what his wife has done. He beats her. The cobra watches this through a window and moves about frantic. Neither notices it. Aparna, I swear to you, I am not my father's son. If I don't abort that bastard, smash it into dust right now. Drags her into the street, picks up a huge stone to throw on her. The cobra moves forward, hissing loudly, drawing attention to itself. Rani screams. Rani, oh my God, a snake, a cobra. Now again, Rani here, through this, there's another very interesting instance, because Rani does not know that that is Naga. That is actually Naga, and she screams out, a snake, a cobra. Aparna throws a stone at the cobra, which instantly withdraws. Rani uses this moment to run into the house and lock herself in. Aparna runs behind her and bangs on the door. Aparna, open the door, you whore. All right then, I'll show you. I'll go to the village elders. If they don't throw that child into boiling oil and you along with it, my name is not Aparna. So his anger and his language also shows his dirty mind. He exits. She rushes to her bedroom. Lights change tonight. She's crying on the floor. Naga comes and sits gloomily nearby. Rani, why are you humiliating me like this? Why are you stripping me naked in front of the whole village? Why don't you kill me instead? I would have killed myself, but there's not even a rope in this house for me to use. Naga, Rani, the village elders will sit in judgment. You will be summoned. That cannot be avoided. So he says, Naga tells her that of the reality. Things cannot be averted now. Things cannot be avoided. And she has to face this. Rani, look at the way you talk, as if you were referring to someone else. After all, you complained to the elders about me. Now you can go and withdraw the complaint. Say my wife isn't a whore. So she still does not know that Naga is a different person and Appanna a different one. Naga, I'm sorry, but it can't be done. Rani, listen, you do trust me, don't you? Rani, you ask me that? Isn't all this a result of trusting you? What is the result of trusting him? Her pregnancy, his love making, and now his double standard. Suddenly helpless, who else is there for me? Naga, then listen to me carefully. When you face the elders, tell them you will prove your innocence. You will undertake the snake ordeal. Now what is a snake ordeal? Snake ordeal, Rani. Snake ordeal, what is that? Naga, you know the ant hill near the banyan tree, almost like a mountain? A king cobra lives in it. Say you will put your hand into the ant hill. Now who is there in the ant hill? Who is the king cobra that Naga is speaking about? It is he himself. Rani screams, what? Naga, yes, and pull out the king cobra and take your oath by that cobra. Rani, I can't. Naga, there is no other way. Rani, yes there is. Give me a poison instead. Kill me right here. At least I'll be spared the humiliation. Won't the cobra bite me? The moment I touch it, I'll die like your dog and your mongoose. Now here again Karnad brings in the dramatic irony. Why? Ani does not know that it is Naga or the king cobra himself is Naga. The audience knows, the dramatist knows. So he again brings in dramatic irony. Rani, what truth? Naga, no, it won't bite. Only you must tell the truth. Rani, what truth? Naga, the truth. Tell the truth while you're holding the cobra. Rani, what truth? Shall I say my husband forgets his nights by night next morning? Shall I say my husband brought a dog and a mongoose to kill this cobra, and yet suddenly he seems to know all about the cobra will do, or all about what the cobra will do or not do? So all this is an example for dramatic irony. And not just that, she also, look at the dialogue that Rani uses here. Shall I say my husband forgets his nights by next morning? So that shows the double aspect of Indian men, not just Indian men, any men who behave like a stranger in the morning and a lover at night. Naga, say anything, but you speak the truth. Rani, and if I lie, Naga, it will bite you. Rani, God, and then gently, almost menacingly, and suppose what I think is the truth turns out to be false. Now what does that statement mean? Suppose what I think is the truth turns out to be false. What that is in fact a very complex philosophy or an idea. It's a philosophy of truth. Truth may not be the same for everyone. What you think is not, it's not a must that it should be the truth. Certain truths are bitter and they are sometimes different to different people. Some truth, now here to Rani, she is suspicious now. She suspects that Naga is not Appanna. She has that suspicion, she has that doubts, but she is not very sure. And her truth, or what she knows is the truth, meaning Aparna and Naga as the same person may not be the truth at all. So here the complex philosophy of truth is worked upon by Karnad. Naga, I'm afraid it will bite you. What you think is not any consequence, it must be the truth. So here Naga tells, whatever happens, you cannot lie. You should give the truth. Anguished, I can't help it, Rani. That's how it has always been. That's how it always will be. Now, what is that? It is about the Indian system or the Indian tradition or the ritual of considering Naga, King Cobra, as next to God. They are very much, they are worshipped, and a snake ordeal demands that one should speak the truth. Again, the superstition and the rituals of the Indian system is portrayed here. Rani, oh God, Naga gets up. All will be well, Rani. Don't worry. Your husband will become your slave tomorrow. You will get all you have ever wanted. He turns to go. Rani, wait. She suddenly runs to him and embraces him. Please hold me tight. I'm afraid, not of the cobra, nor of death, of you, for you. You say you will become my slave tomorrow, that we will be together again. Why then does my heart hammer so frantically? I had not even noticed it until now, and now why is it fluttering like a bird ambushed in a net? Why this welcome to my child? He slowly moves her away. Unable to look at him, unable to keep quiet, she leans her forehead against the wall. The night is almost over. You must go. But I know this is not a morning like any before. Tomorrow won't be a day like any other day. I don't want any tomorrows or day after. I want this night to last forever, remain unchanged. I mustn't let you go. I must listen to my heart and hold you back. Take you like a baby in my arms and keep you safe. As she talks, Naga moves down the steps, turns into a snake and goes away. She suddenly turns to him. He's not there. Listen, please, wait. She rushes out, runs to the front door, lifts her hand to open the latch and freezes. But the door, I had locked it from inside and it is still locked. Now here again. She starts doubting. Her suspicion turns out to be true. Aparna and Naga are two different people. Two absolutely, Naga, she understands that this person, Naga, who's talking to her right now, is not Aparna. So her suspicion becomes more clearer and clearer, yet she does not talk, yet she does not question. Is it because of the subjugation alone? No, it's not because of the subjugation alone. Because she likes Naga. She doesn't want to question him and stop his visits. So that is the reason why she in fact embraces every moment that she has spent with Naga. Now a new thought occurs to her. Almost unconsciously, she runs to the bathroom, looks inside, it is empty. Where are you? Where are you? Sudden commotion. Crowds of villagers fill the stage from all sides. The three elders come and take their position near the ant hill. The stage becomes the village square. So the technique that Karnad has used, where the stage comes to life, again is another form of alienation, where the people are made to believe that this is just a story and nothing more than that. This is just a play and nothing more than that. So that they will not associate with themselves with the characters of the play. What happens when you associate yourself with the characters of the play? When you associate yourself with the characters of the play, you stop thinking. You don't look at the play with an objective point of view. You look at it only from a very subjective view, that is what relates to you, what is whether it is something that is related to you. And when that subjectivity happens, you don't act. You don't do anything to solve problems that is happening in the society. An objective view alone will make you come forward. Perhaps you can take a role of making the lives of people who suffer by perhaps joining some NGOs or perhaps joining some charitable organization. Now that happens only when you have an objective point of view. If you have a subjective point, your mind does not allow you to relate, or rather to say, does not allow you to think about the situations. Thereby you are becoming more passive. You don't become active. So alienation is one technique that makes people think about what is happening in our contemporary world, whatever is happening around us, to react, to act and react. Whereas if you just go to watch a movie, you go there, you become glued to it, you associate yourself with the characters or the actors in the play, and then you come back, you totally forget about it. So that does not happen in plays like these, plays where the alienation effect, Bertolt Brecht's alienation effect is put. Okay, so here the stage suddenly changes from the house, from Rani's house, the stage changes to that of a village square. The elder one: "Dear child, we have done our best, but you refuse to listen to us. We have no alternative now but to give in to your demands." Elder 2: "It brings no credit to the village to have a husband publicly question his wife's chastity. But Appanna here says, since the day of your wedding, I have not once touched my wife or slept by her side, yet she is pregnant. He has registered the complaint, so we must judge its merits." Elder 3: "The traditional test in our village court has been to take the oath while holding a red-hot iron in the hand. Occasionally, the accused has chosen to plunge the hand in boiling oil. But you insist on swearing by the king cobra. The news has spread, and as you can see, attracted large crowds." So here Rani herself, Rani listens to the advice given to her by Naga, and instead of taking the usual holding a red hot iron in the hand or putting the hand in hot boiling oil, she has chosen to take a snake ordeal, which is even more dangerous than the other two. So again, you have to look into those things. This holding the red hot iron and plunging one's hand into the boiling oil. This shows the superstition, the way of judging. Whether if you are innocent, if you put your hand into the boiling oil, it doesn't burn. If you are innocent, you will come out unhurt. Whereas if you are not innocent, if you are guilty of a sin, then you will have your hand burnt. So here again, that the Indian system of judgment and all are portrayed by Karnad, the folk or the village traditions that has been existing and is still now, even now it exists in certain parts of the remote villages. Such traditions, such rituals do exist even now, where they do not, where logical mind or the new judiciary fails or does not, they don't even know about court and the present judiciary. So it's all, even now it is just a ritual. Certain places, even in our India, in certain various remote areas of the villages, in Indian villages. Elder 1: "The village court has turned into a country fair. Such curiosity is not healthy for village, nor conducive to justice. Elder 3, listen to us even now. If something goes wrong and the cobra bites you, not just your life but the life of the child you carry will be in jeopardy. We risk the sin of killing your unborn child. So here again, see, from the village elders, you understand that they are not very happy with Appanna. They still they are in a way finding fault with Appanna. They are forced to do this because Appanna has already registered a complaint with them that he suspects his wife's or the legitimacy of the child. He suspects the legitimacy of the child. He says that it's an illegitimate child. So the elders try to convince Rani, and they request Rani to move out of this snake ordeal, but Rani sticks to it. So if you read on the whole play, you're supposed, I'm not going to completely read the whole play, and then you'll have to read the whole thing where she takes the snake ordeal. And also you will have the section where she sees Kurdava and she runs, Rani at that time runs to Kurdava to plead and ask her for help. But Kurdava is now in a very devastated state because she has lost her son. Kappanna has run away with the Yaksha woman, and now Kurdava is running behind, or she has gone mad. Her love for her son is so immense that she cannot think of a moment without him, and she is running around the village looking for her son, and therefore she does not provide her with any help. And Rani finds the whole thing too much for her. She says, poor thing, why does all these things happen to women, or why does it happen to people like them? And then you have Rani holding the snake, and she Rani puts her hand into the ant hill. She picks out the cobra and says, yes, she admits, since coming to this village I have held by this hand only two. Appanna triumphant, there she admits it, two. She says two. Who are they? Rani, my husband and Appanna. And say it, who else? Rani, and this cobra. Suddenly words pour out. Yes, my husband and this king cobra. Except for these two, I have not touched any two of the male sex, nor have I allowed any other male to touch me. If I lie, let the cobra bite me. The cobra slides up her shoulder, spreads its hood like an umbrella over her head. The crowd gasps. The crowd sways its hood gently for a while, then becomes docile and moves over her shoulder like a garland. Music fills the skies. The light changes into a soft, luminous glow. Rani stares uncomprehending as the cobra slips back into the ant hill. And the crowd cheers. The elders, a miracle. Elder, the second elder says, she's not a woman, she's a divine being. The third elder says, indeed a goddess. So there you see that the fate has changed. Just like what Naga had commented or advised Rani, she has done exactly what Naga has asked her to do, and now she has become, or she's made or she is proclaimed a goddess. So the trial of Rani by this village elders is indeed this. It creates a long sensation, not just to the people standing, or not just to the villagers around her, but also a sensation to us readers as well. So with the trial of Rani, Kurdava's episode is also superimposed. Kurdava losing, frantically calling out for her son Kappanna, who's abducted by an Yaksha woman. But anyway, Karna does not speak much about it. He just gives it, he just allows the readers to come to a conclusion of what may have happened to Kappanna. And then Rani is hailed by by everybody as the goddess incarnate, and the whole crowd cheers, and there is happiness all around. So the elders, they consider this a miracle, and Rani is hailed as a goddess. So, and the crowd cheers, and the whole atmosphere changes to that of music and peace. And also the elders advise Appanna, we also see that the elders advise Appanna to serve his wife for the rest of his life, for the goddess has chosen him as a medium to reveal herself. The elders fall at Rani's feet and seek her blessing for them and their children, calling her Divine Mother. Rani and Appanna are seated on a palanquin and conducted home. On reaching home, Appanna falls at her feet and seeks her pardon for his omissions and commissions. Appanna's concubine tries to expiate her sin against Rani by offering to work as her servant. Rani begets a son, and she lives happily with her husband, child and servant, just like what Naga had said. There is an interesting discussion. Now when you look at the last part of the story, the playwright is not happy with the ending of the play. So the playwright, he intervenes, and he says, man, the story. So Rani got everything she wished for: a devoted husband, a happy life. For Appanna's concubine was present at the trial. When she saw Rani's glory, she felt ashamed of her sinful life, and she volunteered to do menial work in Rani's house. Thus Rani even got a lifelong servant to draw water for her house. In due course, Rani gave birth to a beautiful child, a son. Rani lived happily ever after with her husband, child and servant. Now the story, you remember the story, the personified story. The story is, therefore, she comes forward and she says that's the end of the story. But man, the playwright, the Sutradhar, he is not happy. He's he gets very irritated. He gets exasperated, and he comes forward and says, these flames, so the flames, you have the flames also singing the chorus. Her last sentence is drowned in the hubbub created by the flames as they prepare to leave. That was a nice story. Has it dawned yet? I don't want to be late. Poor girl. So the flames, they want to go back home. They want to know where, it's almost morning, and they are to get back to their house. And the last few lines of the story are, drowned in the hubbub created by the flames. And the man gets angry and says, these flames are worse than my audience. Can't they wait till the story is over? So the man intervenes. The Sutradhar, he intervenes and he says, it's not over. The story is not over. This is not good. Flames, but isn't it? It will be dawn soon. Man, it can't be. No one will accept this ending. You cannot have a happy ending like this. That's not true. That's not real. That doesn't look very real. The story says, why? But why not? Man says, too many loose ends. What are loose ends? Not the proper ending of the story. What about Kappanna and Kurudava? So he means by Kappanna and Kurudava, what about that too many loose ends? Take Kappanna's disappearance, for instance. The story, oh, that is Kurudava's story. If you are interested in that, you may find her yet. Meet her unexpectedly as you met her here in some remote place, even in the marketplace perhaps, or someone in the audience may know, or you can invent the missing details. That would be quite in order. I am only Rani's story. So story says that the Kurdava's story is not hers. If you want to know more about Kurdava's story, you will have to go to a marketplace or somewhere in the audience and find about her, or invent your own ending. So in a way, she's trying to tell the readers that it is up to you to invent the story of Kappanna and Kurdava. You can give various interpretations. You can decide what may have happened to Kappanna and Kurdava. So this is another, this discussion is another example of meta theatre. The alienation effect and the epic theatre popularized by Bertolt Brecht. So man, even then the present ending, so okay, that is fine, but what about the present ending? The story, why not? Man, it's all right to say Rani lived happily ever after, but what about Appanna, her husband? As I see him, he will spend the rest of his days in misery. So again, another loose end. What about Appanna? Is he going to serve her as a goddess and stay there fully into despair and misery? Appanna suddenly, so he's not happy with the story, and there comes Appanna all of a sudden. Appanna suddenly moves out of Rani's embrace, speak to himself. Appanna, what am I to do? Is the whole world against me? Have I sinned so much that even nature should laugh at me? I know I haven't slept with my wife. Let the world say what it likes. Let any miracle declare her goddess. But I know, what sense am I to make of my life if that's worth nothing? So Appanna, suddenly he chooses to come forward, and the playwright makes him talk. So story, well then what about her, Rani? Rani does not speak but responds restlessly to the story's following dialogues. Story, no two men may make love alike. And that night of the village court, when her true husband climbed into her bed with her, how could she fail to realize it was someone else, even if she hadn't known earlier? When did the split take place? Every night this conundrum must have spread its hood out at her. Don't you think she must have cried out in anguish to know the answer? Man, so the story is not over then. Story, when one says, and they lived happily ever after, all that is taken for granted. You sweep such headaches under the pillow and then press your head firmly down on it. It is something one has to live with, like a husband who snores or a wife who is going bald. So here, this is a very important part of the play, where Karnad, through the story, is telling or using the alienation effect, is making the audience think about what is this life happily ever after. So she, through the story, she brings out, or story tells you about the problems that one has to live with. The problems are not, everything is not a Cinderella story, everything is not a Snow White's or a Cinderella's happy ending. So here, life is not about it at all. Life is about adjustments, the married life. So the writer feels, the story agrees with the writer and narrates the story further by giving two different endings regarding Naga. So there you have this discussion between the writer and the story. It is here to create an alienation effect, and the most important feature of epic theatre, as I told you earlier. So you have Naga coming back, you have Appanna speaking, and Naga, he comes back, he wants to have a look at Rani for his, because his infatuation towards Rani is very strong. And when he sees her sleeping with her husband, see, the story stopped with with Rani and Appanna and the child and the servant living happily ever after. Again, the writer intervenes, the Sutradhar, he intervenes and says that's not the right way of ending the story. And the story gives tells you that you brush everything, all these things. When you say life happily ever after, you brush everything under the pillow. That means all these things, small things, these loose endings are always neglected. So there is a lot more to do in life than this happily married ever after. So the story and the narrator goes on with the multiple or two endings of the play, where the Naga is brought back. He sees himself and when he sees her happily sleeping happily with her husband and child by her side, he becomes jealous and he decides to bite her and make her his own forever. But he realizes that he should not kill Rani because he loves her so much. So further he realizes that he's just a snake who has to cast off his skin at the change of every season and cannot become a human form at all. So he now feels that only a human being like Appanna is fit to enjoy the intimacy of Rani. So he gets into her long tresses and kills himself, making a noose out of her hair. Rani is sorry that the cobra has given everything, even his life, for Rani. So she decides to make a ritual cremation of Naga with her son, lighting the funeral pyre, as Cobra has acted like a father and saved the life of her son. Appanna, though he hesitates, he does not question Rani's wish and he allows his son, whom he thinks is his son, to burn the funeral pyre of Naga, or do the ritual for Naga. It was Rani, this indicates that Rani has understood that it was Naga who consummated her marriage, gave her a son and saved the honor before the village court, besides restoring her domestic happiness with her husband and her servant. And the flames again, last towards the end, you will find the flames interfering. The flames want the story, they are the artist, not the story, the artist or the Sutradhar to take up the thread of Rani and Appanna. They are not happy with that ending, and therefore they request the Sutradhar to take up the thread of Rani Appanna story from where the story has left and to spin further, as he is a playwright himself and it is not yet morning. So the man gives another ending to the Rani Appanna story in his own way. Naga enters the bedroom. So again another interpretation. So we have two different endings here. So Naga again comes back, comes to the bedroom of Rani, he smells the long hair and the black tresses of Rani, which resembles that of a snake queen, which is beautiful and black. He gets into her hair. Rani wakes from her sleep and she feels heaviness on her head. And Appanna also wakes because of the trouble, and she asks her Appanna to comb her hair. And when she combs, there is a live cobra that falls down from Rani's long hair. Appanna goes to the kitchen to fetch a stick, and Rani knows that Appanna will kill it. So she asks it to climb back into her hair and settle there comfortably. She pats it once it settles there and asks it to remain there forever, as it is a symbol of her marital joy. When Appanna comes back with a stick, she tells him that the snake has gone to the bathroom. And soon it is morning and the flames disappear one by one. The failed playwright is saved from death. He bows in front of the audience, bringing the play to a close. So that's with the Nagamandala, and by the end of the play you will again find this the complex nature of woman, where she has both her lover and her husband in her life, and they live happily ever after. So these three endings, it has these three endings of the play thus makes the audience understand that this is more than a play, much more than a play. It has some didactic effect in it. It may wants the audience to think about the things that is happening in reality in the contemporary society, especially to do with gender discrimination, especially to do with the marital discords and so on. So with that we come to the end of Nagamandala. The techniques, various techniques of the play and a little more of detail shall be done via Zoom meeting. So thank you and keep safe.